Hello, Creative Gems. Welcome back to Creativity. I'm Sandy, and today we'll be upcycling this empty Ferrero Rocher chocolate box into a beautiful jewelry box with hinges that will allow you to easily open and shut the box. The first thing we'll need to do is remove all the branding labels and stickers from the box. This first label on the corner is a sticker that is really easy to remove with just your fingers. If you have nails, it will help to remove it more quickly. Now, the larger label in the center of the lid is going to be the fun one to remove. It's so thin, it's tricky to tell which side of the lid the label is stuck to, and you certainly cannot just peel it off with your fingernails. But the good news is I have a really easy hack that will make it really quick to remove the label with no special tools or skills. All you need is some packing tape. You'll want to cut out a piece and place it onto the inside of the lid right on top of the label. Then simply use your fingers to gently rub down onto the tape for about 30 to 45 seconds to allow the heat from your fingers to transfer to the tape. This is what will allow the label to stick to the tape so that you can simply peel back the tape to remove the label. Continue to do this until the entire label is removed. You may need to cut a few pieces to get the entire label removed. And in case you're wondering, I have never used this hack with regular Scotch tape or masking tape because I simply don't think those types of tape would be sticky enough. They're also much thicker than packing tape, so it would take a lot more elbow grease to transfer the heat from your fingers to the tape. But if you have had any luck with other types of tape, please leave us a comment and let us know. So here you go. The entire label is completely removed, and now we can start crafting with the box. The next step I want to show you is how to add a hinge to the box so the box can be opened and shut with a little knob that we'll add later. See how there's a bit of a lip all around the edge of the lids? What we want to do is position the top and bottom lids lip to lip. This is what will allow the lids to pivot open and shut once we add a couple of hinges. And to help us keep the two lids temporarily in position, I'll use a couple of pieces of painter's tape to help the lids close together. Next, I'll grab a couple of small hinges. They're 18 by 15, so they're the perfect size for this box. These hinges actually come in a pack of 50, and the screws are also included. And in case you need to stock up on these, I'll leave a link to this as well as my other favorite crafting supplies and embellishments down in the description box. Once I know where I want to place the hinges, I'll apply some Fix-All as well as some hot glue to each hinge, and then secure them back onto the lids. The Fix-All will provide long-lasting firm hold, but will take hours to fully cure, which is why I'm also adding a tiny bit of hot glue because hot glue cools and dries almost instantly. And while we work on this, I would like to take a moment to thank you for tuning in to today's craft project. If you enjoy glam home decor and DIY crafts on a budget, please let me know by hitting that subscribe button. And if you like what you see today, please give me a thumbs up as well so the YouTube gods will continue to recommend my channel to other viewers like you. Now, with both hinges glued to the lids, I actually want to add the screws so we can really ensure the lids don't come apart. To do that, I'm first going to go back in with my hot glue gun and place the tip of the glue gun into each of the screw holes. The idea is to use the tip to pierce open the lid to allow the screws to go in. My glue gun is the mini size one that takes glue sticks that measure 5/16 inches in diameter. But if your hot glue gun has a larger tip than mine, you could also use a hot knife, a wood burning tool, or a soldering iron. They'll all do the same job. And once you have the holes created, simply insert the screws in. The only tricky part is that the screws are so tiny, so if they're too small for your fingers to handle, you can use a screwdriver to screw them in. Okay, so it's the next day and the Fix-All has fully cured, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the painter's tape. Let's go ahead and test the hinge out to make sure we can open and shut the box. I think it looks pretty good actually. It actually works, so I'm really happy. Now, the only thing is that obviously the screws are sticking out on the inside of the box, so we'll want to figure out how to hide them, not only because they're not very pretty looking, but also because the screws are sharp and we don't want to get hurt while using the box. So what I have thought of doing is to cut a couple of strips of foam board to cover the screws. The foam board is thick enough but not too thick, and it should provide the padding and coverage we need. So I'll go ahead and measure out the two pieces we'll need. And while we work on this, comment down below with the words Ferrero Rocher and let me know if you have ever crafted with these boxes before. And if you have, I would love to know what you have made with these boxes. For me, I have made several vanity trays and other jewelry boxes. And if you would like to check those out, I have a playlist of my Ferrero Rocher crafts on my channel. I'll leave a link to that playlist down in the description box. Okay, so now we have both foam board strips cut out. Let's insert them and see how they look. Looks like I still need to make a few adjustments because this piece is too long and also too tall. But no big deal because the foam board is very easy to work with and very easy to cut. Okay, so we finally have both foam board pieces inserted and they both fit perfectly now. And the screws don't stick out anymore either. And here I'm just testing to make sure we can still open and shut the box. So now comes the really fun part. We need to embellish the box and I have so many ideas on how to make it pretty. So I'll just show you a few options in case you plan to make a box of your own. This is a gift bag I got from the Dollar Tree. It has a beautiful silver gray teardrop design and I could see how beautiful the box would be if we cut a piece from this gift bag to place inside the box. And here's a cake board also from the Dollar Tree. This cake board is made from a stiff cardboard, but it's thin enough to cut to size as well. And the reason I thought this would look good is because it has a reflective silver finish, which would really elevate the look of our jewelry box. And then here's another gift bag from the dollar store. This one also has a silver reflective finish, and if you're familiar with my crafts, you'll know that I just love silver and shiny things. And finally, we have this chunky glitter fabric I found at the Dollarama. It's much thicker than regular old paper, but because it has the texture of fabric, you can easily cut it to size and fit it into the box. And in fact, this is the one I'll be going with because these days I'm really loving the combined look of silver with a pop of gold, and this will look so pretty alongside some of my other silver and gold home decor pieces. And now that we have decided on how we're going to embellish the inside of the box, we'll need to go back to those white foam board pieces and embellish those. You're probably wondering why I used old foam board. Well, that's because we're going to cover them up with some gold metallic paint marker, which will be a great match for the gold chunky fabric I chose for the inside of the box. I'll paint all four sides of each foam piece and then reinsert them back into the box. And by the way, if you don't have any paint markers, you can use regular acrylic paint. or actually skip the step entirely, because later on in this video I end up covering these foam board pieces after all, because I actually didn't end up liking the look of them even after I painted them. That's what happens sometimes when you craft without a clear plan and kind of wing it along the way. But that's also the beauty of being able to be creative on the fly. In fact, if you're still with me, comment down below and let me know if you always craft with a detailed plan of exactly what you're going to make, how you're going to make it, and what materials you will be using. Or do you like to improvise and just craft with whatever comes to your mind at the moment? Next, I'll need to measure out a piece of the gold chunky glitter fabric. And by the way, I did decide that I didn't like the look of the painted foam boards, as I mentioned earlier, so I cut the chunky gold glitter fabric large enough to cover the painted foam board as well. Once we have the fabric cut out to size, we'll want to fit it to the bottom lid with some glue. I've chosen to use some tacky glue because it goes on pretty thin and smooth, unlike hot glue, which tends to dry in clumps. The downside is that the tacky glue takes a bit longer to fully cure, but that really won't be a problem. And if you're still with me, I would be curious to know which of you prefer silver and which of you prefer gold. Or maybe you're like me and you like to combine both finishes in your home decor. Comment down below with the word gold if you're a golden girl, or silver if you're a silver girl, or both if you like both silver and gold. Next, we'll need to cover the top of the foam board pieces because the way it looks right now, I really don't think it looks pretty, even with a metallic gold paint. So I'm going to apply a few rows of this beautiful rhinestone trim. This rhinestone trim is self-adhesive, so we won't even need any glue to adhere it to the foam board, and it's flexible and can be easily cut to size. So with the first foam board piece done, we're going to go back and cover the second foam board piece with a strip of the chunky gold glitter fabric. Once it is cut to the appropriate size, I'll glue it down with some tack. Now I'll go back in with a few rows of the rhinestone trim to cover the top of the foam board piece. With the gold chunky glitter fabric lining the bottom of the box and the trim applied to the foam board pieces, let's test this box out again and make sure we can still open and shut it. Now we're going to start working on embellishing the outside of the box. By the way, I didn't realize earlier that the first sticker we removed had left a hazy sticky film on the box, so we'll want to clean that off. To do that, I'm using a shortcut by using some Goo Gone spray, and that will take the residue right off in no time. And by the way, this video is not sponsored. I just really like how easy and fast the Goo Gone works to remove sticky residue anytime I have to remove labels and stickers from my jars and containers. Next, I'm going to start covering the sides of the box with some more self-adhesive rhinestone trim. We'll need to cut strips of them to the height and length of the sides of the box, beginning with the back where we inserted the hinges. The tricky part is that we're also going to have to cut around the hinges, but that won't be too difficult since the trim is flexible and can be cut to size. And if you're still with me, let me know down in the comments what are some of your favorite embellishments you like to craft with. For me, I definitely love crafting with these self-adhesive rhinestone trims, as well as gem stickers, beads, ribbons, glitter, and as you saw earlier, even gift bags. I also love to use Christmas ornament balls as embellishments, chrome card trim, silver and gold beads, as well as metallic paints and paint markers. Essentially anything that is shiny or that has a metallic finish. I just love bling, and if you're familiar with my crafts, you'll know what I always say, the more bling, the better. In fact, if you're looking to stock up on your crafting supplies and embellishments, remember to check out my curated list of my favorite crafting supplies, tools, and embellishments. I'll have links in the description box in case you want to check them out. So what I want to do next is paint the bronze hinges silver. Now, if you happen to have silver or gold hinges already, or if you don't mind the bronze finish, you can skip this step. I just prefer the look of silver against the silver rhinestone trim. So for the remaining 3 sides of the box, I'm going to embellish them with a different trim. This trim I have chosen is also self-adhesive, but it is a different design. It has these tiny little glass pieces along with the rhinestone trims, which matches the other trim we used for the back of the box. It can also be cut to size, and look how pretty it is. And once the bottom lid is done, I'll want to embellish the top with the same trim. But before we do that, I want to add a little knob to the box so we can use it to lift the lid open and shut. For that, I have many different options to choose from that I'll show you, just so you can get some ideas of what the possibilities are. I've got some round cabinet knobs, and this one has a silver chrome finish. Let's see what it looks like on the box. I think it fits, but I feel like the knob is just a little too big. I also have these ones from Dollarama that are slightly smaller, but I still think they're a tiny bit big too. Then we have some crystal doorknobs. This one is so beautiful, don't you think? And I also have bigger crystal doorknobs, but those will definitely be way too big. And here's a long drawer handle with crystal pieces along the bar. This is an extra one left over from my kitchen reno I did a few years back. And look at that, it actually fits perfectly and it's the right size. But the only thing is I feel it's a bit too heavy for the box. And now I have these pretty pieces. They're stick-on knobs for cabinets, and of course they're not real crystal, but nevertheless they're very pretty. And I think these are the perfect size for the box, and they're not heavy. They're actually pretty lightweight because they're made of an acrylic material. You get 50 of these in a pack, and when you work it out, they were only about a quarter a piece. And yes, if you're excited to get some of these yourself, these are also included in my list of favorite embellishments, linked down below in the description box. So I've trimmed it around the base with some scissors and then stuck it onto the front side of the lid towards the middle. And take a look at that, it's so pretty, and now we can use it to lift the lid open and shut. Okay, so to finish this box off, we'll add the final trim to the sides of the lid. I'll use one single piece to wrap all around the lid, but we'll need to cut around the knob. I'm also going to add a thinner strip of the trim along the lip of the bottom lid as well. You don't really need to do this step, but I feel like it will give the box a much more finished look. I'm also going to go back in and add a piece of rhinestone trim to the cover where you can still see through the box to the top of the gold painted foam board. 3 rows of the trim should cover that up nicely. And then as a final touch for the top of the lid, I'll go ahead to cut single rows of the rhinestone trim and apply each to the top cover of the box on a diagonal. This step is also optional, but I figured a little more bling for the box would not hurt. And in fact, you could go one step further and apply the trim in the same diamond shape pattern of the cover if you really wanted to go all out with the bling. So with that done, let's finish this box off by adding some legs to the bottom just to give our jewelry box a little bit of more height. All I'm going to do is add 4 of those stick-on knobs, 1 on each corner, and I'm not even going to trim the base. Simply peel back the backing and press the knob down onto the container, and that's pretty much it. I would say that now our Ferrero Rocher box transformed into a beautiful jewelry box is complete. The box has hinges, a nice knob, and some beautiful legs along with lots of bling embellishments. And here's the final look. This box is so elegant and quite unique and really only cost a few dollars to make. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this box. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and share with other creative gems. Also, remember to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I have another DIY glam project on my channel.